A dual clutch transmission is a type of automatic transmission or automated automotive transmission. It uses two separate clutches for odd and even gear sets. It can fundamentally be described as two separate manual transmissions contained within one housing, and working as one unit. They are usually operated in a fully automatic mode, and many also have the ability to allow the driver to manually shift gears in semi-automatic mode, albeit still carried out by the transmission's electro-hydraulics. History: this type of transmission was invented by Frenchman Adolphe Car copyright Grèce just before World War II, but he never developed a working model. The first development of the twin-clutch or dual-clutch transmission started in the early part of 1980 under the guidance of Harry Webster at Automotive Products, Leamington Spa, with prototypes built into the Ford Fiesta Mk1, Ford Ranger and Peugeot 205. Initially, the control systems were based on purely analog discrete digital circuitry with patents filed in July 1981. All of these early AP twin-clutch installations featured a single dry clutch and multi-plate wet clutch. Following discussions with VW Porsche, DCT work continued from Porsche in-house development, for Audi and Porsche racing cars later in the 1980s, when computers to control the transmission became compact enough. The Porsche Doppelkupplungstrieb used in the Porsche 956 and 962 Le Mans race cars from 1983, and the Audi Sport Quattro S1 rally car. A dual-clutch transmission eliminates the torque converter as used in conventional epicyclic geared automatic transmissions. Instead, dual-clutch transmissions that are currently on the market primarily use two oil-bathed wet multi-plate clutches, similar to the clutches used in most motorcycles, though dry clutch versions are also available. The first series production road car to be fitted with a DCT was the 2003 Volkswagen Golf Mk4 R32. As of 2009, the largest number of sales of DCTs in Western Europe are by various marques of the German Volkswagen Group, though this is anticipated to lessen as other transmission makers and vehicle manufacturers make DCTs available in series production automobiles. In 2010, on BMW Canada's website for the 3 Series Coupe, it is described both as a 7-speed double-clutch transmission and as a 7-speed automatic transmission. It is actually a dual-clutch semi-automatic. Overview: in DCTs where the two clutches are arranged concentrically, the larger outer clutch drives the odd-numbered gears, while the smaller inner clutch drives the even-numbered gears. Shifts can be accomplished without interrupting torque distribution to the driven road wheels, by applying the engine's torque to one clutch at the same time as it is being disconnected from the other clutch. Since alternate gear ratios can pre-select an odd gear on one gear shaft while the vehicle is being driven in an even gear, DCTs are able to shift more quickly than cars equipped with single-clutch automated manual transmissions, aka single-clutch semi-automatics. Also, with a DCT, shifts can be made more smoothly than with a single-clutch AMT, making a DCT more suitable for conventional road cars. Clutch types: there are two fundamental types of clutches used in dual-clutch transmissions, either two wet multi-plate clutches which are bathed in oil, or two dry single-plate clutches. The wet clutch design is generally used for higher torque engines which can generate 350 Nm and more, whereas the dry clutch design is generally suitable for smaller vehicles with lower torque outputs up to 250 Nm. However, while the dry clutch variants may be limited in torque compared to their wet clutch counterparts, the dry clutch variants offer an increase in fuel efficiency, due to the lack of pumping losses of the transmission fluid in the clutch housing. Clutch installation: there are now 3 variations of clutch installation. The original design used a concentric arrangement, where both clutches shared the same plane when viewed perpendicularly from the transmission input shaft, along the same center line as the engine crankshaft. When viewed head-on along the length of the input shaft, this makes one clutch noticeably larger than the other. The second implementation utilized 2 single-plate dry clutches which are side by side from the perpendicular view, but again sharing the center line of the crankshaft. A latest variation uses 2 separate but identical sized clutches. These are arranged side by side when viewed head-on, and also share the same plane when viewed perpendicularly. This latter clutch arrangement is driven via a gear from the engine crankshaft. Suppliers: BorgWarner. BorgWarner Incorporated supplies wet dual clutches and electro-hydraulic control modules for these dual clutch transmissions, along with complete dual clutch transmission and transaxle assemblies. BorgWarner, who call their technology Dualtronic, entered series production for Volkswagen Group, who renamed direct shift gearbox in 2003 in the Volkswagen Golf Mk4 R32. The company signed further agreements with 3 other European automotive manufacturers to incorporate their components in DCTs. On January 14, 2009, BorgWarner announced the establishment of a joint venture with the China Automobile Development United Investment Company, Limited, which is owned by 12 Chinese automakers. This joint venture is known as the BorgWarner United Transmission Systems Company, Limited, and is located in Dalian, China. The company has produced various dual-clutch transmission modules beginning in 2011. The Nissan GTR uses BorgWarner components which include the dual-clutch module, clutch control and shift actuation systems and synchronizer assemblies. Eaton developed the first dual-clutch transmission for Class 6 to 7 in North America, Precision. Fiat Powertrain Technologies developed a dual-clutch transmission with Magneti Marelli and BorgWarner called Euro Twin Clutch Transmission. Magneti Marelli produces the control system which integrates BorgWarner's hydraulic actuation module into its own power and transmission control units. It can handle torque inputs of up to 350 Nm, making it the highest torque dry clutch application. Its weight of 81 kg, including oil and transmission control unit, its 3-shaft architecture, especially axially, allows it to be installed in several types of B and C segment vehicles. FEV GmbH, FEV developed a DCT with an integrated electric motor, providing hybrid capability. The 7-hours AMT transmission provides 7 forward speeds with multiple usage of gears. This aims to substantially reduce the complexity of the unit as well as the package size and weight. Another spin-off from this design was the FEVX DCT that provides 10 forward speeds but with the mechanical complexity of a standard 6-speed DCT. Getrag has developed a range of DCT transaxles, including 7 DCL750, a 7-speed transaxle for mid-engine longitudinal applications, capable of taking more than 750 Nm. Getrag will be providing its DCT in its first commercial applications, for the Dodge Journey and Volvo S40 and V50, from mid-2008. Getrag has developed the 6DCT250 Dry Clutch DCT for use in front-wheel drive transverse applications. With use of electromechanical actuation, rather than electro-hydraulic, the 6DCT250 transmission surpasses the conventional manual transmission in fuel consumption and CO2 emission. In the second quarter of 2008, Getrag had signed an agreement with Chrysler to supply its power shift DCTs for use in American markets. However, due to the global economic downturn, this was subsequently cancelled. In 2006, Getrag was also working with Bosch to develop a DCT for use in hybrid vehicles. Getrag dual-clutch transmissions are used in the BMW M3, BMW 335is, BMW Z4's Drive 35i, Ferrari California, Ferrari 458 Italia, LaFerrari, Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution X, Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart, Ford Fiesta, Ford Focus, Renault Megane, Renault Scenic, Volvo V40, Volvo V60 and Volvo V70 vehicles. Graziano, Italian specialist Oerlikon Graziano was in the process of developing a wet clutch DCT for original equipment manufacturer fitment into supercars. It aimed to be in production by 2010. Their DCT is aiming to have a torque handling capacity of 750 Nm, and they are also aiming to improve shift quality over their current automated manual transmissions. As of 2011, they supplied the 7-speed DCT for McLaren's MP4-12C supercar with a shifting time of 50 milliseconds. Luke Clutch Systems, LLC designed and manufactured the Dual Dry single-plate clutch system for the Volkswagen Group 7-speed Dq 200 direct shift gearbox introduced in 2008. This DSG variant is used in smaller cars, with smaller displacement engines with relatively low torque outputs. Kia naming their technology XSG for their overview of automated shift gearbox systems, and parallel shift gearbox for its own proprietary DCT. Ricardo, English specialist consulting engineering company Ricardo plc designed and built the Bugatti Veyron 7-speed dual wet multi-plate dual clutch transmission, specifically to cope with the 1,250 Nm of torque generated by W16 engine. ZF Friedrichshafen AG designed and built with Porsche the two different variants of the Porsche Doppelkupplungstrieb 7-speed 7DT dual wet multi-plate clutch transmission. Applications: Lamborghini, that is the first dual clutch transmission of Lamborghini, in the new model of Gallardo replacement Lamborghini Huracan NLP 610-4, 2014-2015 The Euro present. The name of the transmission is 7-speed LDF dual clutch Dq Frisian with shift characteristics variable via drive select mode and all-wheel drive with electro-hydraulic multi-plate clutch. The car has three modes changed using the steering wheel mounted a Euro OE anima, a Euro or mode selector. The three modes are the Strada, Sport, and Corsa, each with faster shifts. Launch control raises the RPM to 4,200 RPMs before dropping the clutch. The Huracan N will upshift automatically at readline, but not before running into the limiter for a fraction of a second. Using the paddles to call for earlier shifts knocks a tenth, sometimes 2/10, off the figures. Kia has developed a new 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission as a replacement for its current 6-speed automatic. The new transmission will start cropping up in global Kia models starting in 2015 with US models receiving it after 2015, though Kia did not specify which models would be first to get it. Compared to the 6-speed DCT currently used in the Europe market SAID models, the new transmission is expected to deliver a fuel economy improvement of 7% and a 5% improvement in 0–62 mph acceleration times. Like most new DCTs, the new transmission features dual dry clutches and two input shafts, allowing for seamless torque delivery between shifts as well as gear jumping to the optimal ratio, should the driver ask for it. If that was to apply to the current 40 sedan K3 and Pro CE GT, with its 173 horsepower 2.0 Allen Line 4 NUGDI engine and 204 horsepower 1.6 Allen Line 4 Gamma TGDI turbo engine, for example, that would raise its fuel economy from 24 mpg city/36 highway to about 26/39 while bringing its 7.4-second 0–60 run to about 7 seconds flat. Kia claims it will be 7% more efficient than the 6-speed, while improving acceleration times by 5%. We could also see this transmission being a good match as an option for the sexy GT4 Stinger sports car, 2014 Geneva Motor Show, should that thing ever happen. NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness, has also been a key focus for the team behind the DCTA Euro unregistered trademark S development, with an external damper ensuring a high level of refinement for the new transmission of Kia. BMW. In January 2008, BMW introduced a dual-clutch transmission for their M3 model, manufactured by Getrag, embedding a Dualtronic dual-clutch module from Borg-Warner, and dubbed M-double-clutch transmission. The same transmission is used in the second-generation Z4, and is an available option on the 335i, 335s and later 135i builds. BYD Auto introduces a dual-clutch transmission for its mid-size family sedan BYD G6. Daimler AG, Mercedes-Benz, the Mercedes SLS-AMG use a Getrag AMG Speed Shift 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox, mounted at the rear in a transaxle configuration, and connected to the engine via a carbon fiber drive shaft enclosed in an aluminium torque tube. According to Mercedes-Benz, it is capable of gear changes in as little as 100 mph as the SLS and the Ferrari California share the same DCT unit. Smart, dynamic dual clutch transmission is offered in third-generation Smart 4.0 and 4.4 from 2014 on. Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. Chrysler is scheduled to receive Fiat Powertrain Technologies C635 Dual Dry Clutch transmission for use on Chrysler's inline-4 and V6 Pentastar in the Dodge Dart and a D-segment car in 2013. Ferrari incorporated a Getrag-designed and manufactured 7-speed dual wet clutch transmission in their California and 458 Italia sports cars. Fiat Powertrain Technologies started production of TCT dual dry clutch transmission in early 2010 at the Verone plant. The C635D DCT gearbox is used for B, C, and D segment cars, and can handle torque up to 350 Nm. Fiat's C635D DCT gearbox was introduced in Alfa Romeo Mito in 2011. Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company released a wet clutch power shift transmission on the 2008 Ford Focus and Ford C-Max. This wet clutch DCT was designed with gearbox specialist Getrag under the Getrag Ford Transmissions joint venture, founded in 2001, and is expected to feature in other Ford and Volvo models. Ford announced the U.S. market version of the Mark VI Ford Fiesta for 2011 featured a dry clutch power shift transmission. Ford also announced the introduction of power shift transmission to North American market by 2010. The Volvo version will be built in Köping, Sweden at Volvo's transmission plant. The power shift gearbox will be introduced on the second-generation Volvo S60, and then onto the V50 and C30 models. The XC60 is expected to get this Ford power shift gearbox along with other new models to make more sporty cars. General Motors, in the company's restructuring plan, it revealed that dry dual clutch transmission would be available in 2012 calendar year. The GM's dual clutch gearbox will be introduced on the GMC Granite. The new front-wheel drive transmission will incorporate the latest innovations for improving fuel economy and performance. The transmission alone will provide upward of 10% improvement in fuel economy over today's Euro 1 registered trademark S conventional 6-speed automatic transmissions. The co-developed transmission between GM and SAIC will feature dry, dual clutch technology. It will provide shift comfort equal to a conventional fully automatic transmission, with superior quality, while reducing CO2 emissions. Honda, motorcycles. In October 2009, Honda launched a VFR 1200F, a motorcycle with a 1,237 cc V4 engine and optional DCT dubbed the Next Generation Transmission. In May 2009, Honda CEO Takeo Fukui mentioned that Honda was working on a new dual-clutch transmission system that could be matched with future hybrids. 2012 NC700 series have dual-clutch models available, NC700SD and Honda NC700D Integra. It is the second generation from the 6-speed dual-clutch transmission first used on the Honda VFR 1200F. 2013 Honda introduced the CTX 700 DCT, a 670cc dual-clutch motorcycle selling as a 2014 model. 1. Automobiles. Honda introduced the Acura RLX Hybrid, Honda Fit Hybrid and Acura TLX with dual-clutch transmissions. For 2014/2015 vehicles equipped with 1.5L Atkinson cycle engines, Honda prepared new DCT. This has 7 gears and integrated electric motor over the first gear, which itself is a planetary reduction gear for the third gear. The complete transmission is very compact, as the dual-clutch assembly takes about 30% of the total volume of the 7-speed transmission. Hyundai. At the 2009 Geneva Motor Show, Hyundai unveiled its Ioniq concept car, which was said to feature a 6-speed dual-clutch transmission. Hyundai released the Veloster with the 6-speed ECO shift dual-clutch transmission in 2011. John Deere tractors introduced direct drive in 2012 in agricultural tractors. Lotus Cars has submitted a patent application for a lighter, simpler and more compact dual-clutch transmission system. The gearbox shown in the application is an 8-speed unit, with 7 forward gears and reverse. McLaren Automotive. McLaren Automotive introduced a 7-speed dual clutch on Mk4-12C made in Italy by Oerlikon Graziano. The design comes with a feature called precog, which allows the driver to pre-select the next highest or lowest gear, decreasing shift times. Mitsubishi. The Mitsubishi Motors Lancer Evolution X and Lancer Ralliart are supplied with Mitsubishi's twin-clutch SST dual-clutch transmission, controllable by steering wheel-mounted magnesium paddle shifters. It is the Getrag-built, PowerShift 6 DCT 470 transmission in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. Mitsubishi Fuso Truck and Bus Corporation. The Mitsubishi Fuso Truck and Bus Corporation presented a world first with a double-clutch transmission for commercial vehicles. The new 6-speed MO38S6 Donic transmission features wet clutches and incorporates the ability to creep in traffic for smoother operation. Although Donic-equipped trucks will probably be driven mostly in fully automatic mode, the transmission can also be manually shifted. Nissan. The Nissan GT-R's rear transaxle 6-speed dual-clutch transmission also contains the differential for the car's all-wheel drive system. Much of the dual-clutch system was engineered by BorgWarner, partnered with Nissan's gearbox supplier Eiki Machine Industry, and weighs a total installed mass of 117 kg. Codenamed the GR6, the transmission is quite durable in that it is able to hold in excess of 600 lb-ft of torque. Nissan reports shift times of 150 milliseconds. PSA Peugeot Citroën. PSA has dual-clutch transmission in Peugeot 4007 and Citroën C-Crosser SUVs, both of which are based on Mitsubishi Outlander and produced by Getrag. However, dual-clutch transmissions are never offered in other models. Porsche AG offers a series production of two new longitudinally installed ZF Friedrichshafen AG designed and built with Porsche 7DT wet clutch versions of its previously race-only Porsche Doppelkupplungstrieb transmission. The first variant, the 7DT45, is used on its 2009 997 Carrera and Carrera S models. This version is also offered on the 2009 Cayman. Boxster. It uses a ZF Sachs North Dakota 2015 clutch pack, and has a torque handling capacity of 500 Nm. A higher torque version of the same transmission, the 7DT70, is also available for the 2010 911 Turbo. This is rated at 780 Nm, and uses a different ZF Sachs clutch the North Dakota 2216. The second PDK variant, the 7DT75, is available on the 2009 Panamera. This is constructed fundamentally differently from the 7DT45 7th DT70 versions, in that the internal shafts are mounted above the input shaft, so as to achieve a lower center of gravity for the Panamera. It also uses just one oil circuit, whereas the 7DT45 7th DT70 used two separate circuits, with very different specifications of fluids needed. Both variants use 7 forward speeds, and Porsche claim the Doppelkupplung PDK transmission will replace the outgoing conventional Tiptronic automatic transmissions. However, other reliable industry sources state that Porsche still intends to use conventional automatics, with the 8-speed ZF 8 horsepower being cited. Like all DCTs, the Porsche PDK transmission is fundamentally two separate manual transmissions in one, with the first, third, fifth, and seventh gears and reverse available on one shaft, and second, fourth, and sixth gears available on the other shaft. Porsche claims noteworthy improvements in CO2 emissions of around 15% when comparing DCT installations against its former automatic transmission, of which half can be directly attributed to the DCT. When compared directly with a manual transmission, 16% improvement can be directly attributed to the DCT. Coros, Getrag received the first order for its dual-clutch transmission 6 DCT250 from Coros Automotive Company, Limited, an independent JV carmaker in China. Attributes of the transmission include easy shifting, reduced fuel consumption compared to conventional automatic transmissions, and flexibility and functionality in hybrid applications. Start of production is planned for 2013 in the Getrag plant Nankang. In addition to the 6-speed manual transmissions Getrag will supply to Coros, the dual clutch transmission 6DCT250 will be applied to the first car under Coros brand, which will meet all European standards and be exported to Western European markets. Renault. In the early part of 2010, Renault introduced a new 6-speed Dual Dry Clutch Dct. This is available on the MA copyright gain with the DCI 110 DPF engine. The DCT system was built by Getrag. This will enable these DCT-equipped Meganes to be the marque's first automatic cars to qualify for the Renault Eco-squared signature. Since 2012 facelift, Renault MA copyright gain is first French automobile with dual-clutch transmission. Volkswagen Group. Volkswagen Group produces DCTs under the direct shift gearbox name, from the German, Direktschaltgetriebe. It is used in all of their mainstream marques, including Volkswagen passenger cars, Audi, Seat, Angstrom Coda, and Volkswagen commercial vehicles, and also its top-tier marque Bugatti. Audi originally used the direct shift gearbox name, but now uses the name S-Tronic for its DCTs. The first ever worldwide series production DCT was the Volkswagen Group Dq 256-speed dual-clutch transmission, with dual concentric wet multiplate clutches. It was produced at the group's Kassel plant under exclusive license from Borg-Warner for use in transverse powertrain installations, of either front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive layouts. The 4WD versions are fundamentally identical to the 2WD versions, but the 4WD versions use an additional bolt-on power takeoff unit to direct engine torque to the Holdex traction rear axle. This DQ250 variant is used in a wide range of models: Volkswagen passenger cars, Audi cars, Seat cars, Angstrom Coda cars, and Volkswagen commercial vehicles. A second variant of the direct shift gearbox went into series production in 2008, the DQ200. This unit has 7 forward ratios, but the notable difference over the original DQ250 is the change from wet to dry clutches. This variant uses 2 single-plate dry clutches, arranged in a tandem design and which are therefore similar in size. The DQ200 is again for use in transverse applications, but is intended for use in smaller cars, with smaller displacement engines that generate relatively low torque outputs. When used in the latest Golf with the 90 kW engine, this new 7-speed DSG uses roughly 6% less fuel than the same engine with a manual transmission and up to 20% less than a conventional automatic transmission. The original DQ250 also remains available. Volkswagen Group subsidiary Audi AG have also developed an all-new DCT the DL501, for use in longitudinal powertrains. Like the original transverse DQ250, this DL501 utilizes dual wet multiplate clutches, but unlike the DQ250, this variant uses 7 forward ratios. This DL501 variant made its debut in the Q5, and also is used in the latest versions of the A4 and S4. It is also being considered for use in an all-new A6. The Lamborghini Huracan uses a double-clutch Lamborghini Dq Frisian transmission, while the Aventador uses a robotized manual. After the facelift in 2012, the Audi R8 uses a 7-speed S-Tronic. English specialist consulting engineering company Ricardo plc produces the 7-speed DCT for the 736 kW 2005 Bugatti Veyron EBA 16.4. Railcar use. A different type of dual-clutch transmission has been used in some rail cars. The 2 clutches are placed, one on the gearbox input shaft and the other on the gearbox output shaft. When a gear change is to be made, both clutches are disengaged simultaneously and a brake is applied inside the gearbox. The gear change is made with all gears stationary, so no synchronizing mechanism is needed. After the gear change, both clutches are re-engaged. There would be a significant brake in transmission, so this system would be unsuitable for shunting locomotives. References